The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You know, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? You haven't seen it. You've never even heard of it? That's surprising. I mean, I hear the theme music like once a week, and there are a million other shows and articles that reference the title. Hmm. Maybe you really don't know what movie I'm talking about, but I'd be willing to bet you do. You just don't know you know. To start with, what is the title? The movie is listed as an Italian production, so I guess that makes the Italian title the official original title. As far as I can tell, the English title is a pretty close translation, as are the titles of its sister films. Plus, I'm speaking English, so let's focus on those. Sergio Leone and the other key people collaborated on three films. The first is A Fistful of Dollars. The title of the second builds on the first. The handful wasn't enough, so we grabbed a fistful, but we're still not satisfied. What lengths will we go to get a little more? Just a little. I haven't watched For a Few Dollars More in a long time, and I wonder if that title really fits the themes of the story, or if it was a reflection of what the studio wanted rather than the characters or the creators. A Fistful of Dollars is an adaptation of Kurosawa's Yojimbo. When it was released in Japan, they must have been very conscious of that origin because they decided to ignore the English title and Italian and call it Koya no Yojimbo. If we want to translate that into English, it's something like High Plains Bodyguard, since The Bodyguard was the English title they used for Yojimbo back in the 60s. Of course, they had the option of translating the original title, so why not try? I thought about it a little, and the first word that came to mind was hitonigiri, which means a handful, so it's close but not quite right. Sometimes a handful means someone or something is difficult to handle, but it's usually talking about a small amount, like taking a handful of peanuts to go with your beer. Then I remembered hearing the word washizukami. Rather than a human hand, it's a metaphorical eagle's talon. A fistful is not only taking all you can hold, but taking it dynamically, maybe even violently. Doesn't that seem like a good fit? A straight translation of dollars is doru. But when I hear this title, I always envision a rugged hand with bills bursting out between the fingers. So I thought it's more important to say that it's paper money than to say what kind, and came up with satsu. Anyway, my suggestion is Satsu no Washizukami. Yojimbo has its own sequel with no connection to these movies, which are barely connected to each other anyway, so they gave For a Few Dollars More another new and unrelated title, Yuhi no Gunman. Again, my memory is a bit foggy, but people do shoot each other, and I'm pretty sure the sun sets at some point. So, while I don't imagine they spent a lot of time on it, it's not terrible. The only thing that bothers me if I dwell on it is the word gunman. It seems at first to be an English word, but in English, gunman usually refers to a criminal and has negative connotations. If the title refers to the protagonists, it would seem to be a poor fit. Clint Eastwood's character avoids random violence and collateral damage. His co-star, Lee Van Cleef, plays an honorable gentleman on a quest for justice. So, something like duelist, which emphasizes formality, or gunslinger, which emphasizes skill, might have been better. Gunman. It's also similar to Japanese words like kameraman, used to mean cameraman but also photographer, and gahadoman for security guard or watchman. Of course, Japanese ignores plurals too, and if we count both Clint and Lee, it would be duelists, gunslingers, or gunmen. The first two titles had established a pattern, but the third breaks with it and goes its own way. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is simple yet provocative, instantly memorable, and went on to become a social phenomenon itself. The Good, the Bad, and the Blank, and other variations on the pattern, entered the modern English lexicon and became a part of our shared culture, even apart from the movie. So certainly this would be the time to put in the effort and craft an elegant, expressive title to cement this legendary work in the minds and hearts of the audience for all eternity. The Japanese title is Zoku, Yuhi no Gunman. This movie is a masterpiece that defined its genre and set a bar that no competitor could reach. And yet in Japan, it didn't even get its own title. Sunset Gunslinger Continued? Sunset Gunslinger Part 2? All three Japanese titles are completely unrelated to the originals, and so naturally, when I mention these movies in Japan, most people have no idea what I'm talking about.